I'm a Drake sympathizer. Go. Over the last 2 Apple Music years, there's been an artist that's remained at that #1 listen to spot consistently. If not just him, then things he's featured on. And I've tried to dodge this for a long time because of the kind of rap dude that I am. You know, my top 5 consists of Pusha T, T.I., Styles P, and Lil Wayne. A fifth to be named later. In saying that, I can't dodge it anymore. I'm a Drake sympathizer. Go. Hear me out. Let's strip it of all of its pomp and circumstance. Tear it all down. Just leave the man, his factory setting, where people attack him, and how people are never satisfied. Let's start there. He hasn't had a peaceful moment from the moment he arrived in rap. From the moment he dropped So Far Gone, there were people poised to hate Drake because of what they thought he stood for. They thought he was the end of rap. Like, rap as we know it is going to be dashed to hell because of this light-skinned boy. He just going to come in here and sing to the ladies. And yes, that's what he did. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. You heard what I said. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. Because had he come in on another tone, y'all would have fried him for that too. Not that he could be, even though he does a lot of that talk lately. But you can when you have money because you can literally pay people to kill for you. Anyway, shout out to Chums. That's not all right. Anyway, people were poised to hate him. He's always been in like a defensive position. Like if you listen to all his music, he is always the victim. That's what he says. That's the narrative. However, he's kind of a sleazeball though. He's earned the being targeted for certain character traits. That's not necessarily what I'm speaking of now. We can revisit that at another time, which I'm more than willing to, because no man is beyond reproach. Then you have Thank Me Later. Thank Me Later, he was on. That was the one that was going to let y'all know he going to be here. So Far Gone was cute. It was nice. Oh, look at this. Yeah, okay. That's Weezy, man, right? That's Wayne, man, right? Yeah, okay. That's who he was. Thank Me Later, he was still that, but it's like, yo, what's his name? Drake. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, Drake, we hear you. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't listen to Take Care. I didn't like the album cover. I didn't like. Not even kidding. I was like, sophomore jinx, which is my fault. I might revisit it. I'm actually probably gonna listen to it, right? But in saying that, because for what it was worth, people argue about Take Care. Like there are very few albums people argue about because they know and understand what Drake's purpose is in music. They know that one person isn't going to like it all, and it's not meant for that. But with what's on Take Care, one person, a dynamic individual, could like all that music. There are some tones that grow on you, but that's not why we're here. Go. So he keeps winning. He keeps winning. People keep hating it. But then the linchpin in all of this was Pusha T going directly at Wayne and people sticking their neck out. I know you feel like that's what you got to do. But think about this, Drake. That Pusha T he might have still had some coke under his fingernails at the time of. That Terrence was different. He didn't even want you to get involved. That's the beginning of his frustration with you, Drake. Pusha Terrence did not want you to even get involved, but you involved yourself in a space that's not even built for you. Because that Duppy freestyle was light. You don't do well with the retaliation. You do good at initiation because you do a lot of subbing. Again, I say this as a Drake sympathizer because we've all been in a position where we've had to become people we aren't customarily. People criticize us for it. But then when we go back to being nice, people take advantage of it. What do you want? What more do you want? Go. You can't be the #1 guy and talk about being the #1 guy in the way that you talk about being the #1 guy and not expect to get shot at. You can't parade about with your chest out. No, sir. Not to say you're not to look confident, but you have to know what comes with it. You always seem so shocked. I don't understand why. They not just going to sit back and listen to that while you man and things. Nobody's going to let you man and things, which is, Crody. Listen, get that out of here. And when Drake raps, and he raps well. He picks his timestamp music to display that, just to remind people. And that's cool. The people you're trying to remind aren't convinced that way. Again, I say this as a Drake sympathizer. We all make missteps in thinking that because we contribute in one way, that we're contributing, but the people that we're contributing to don't receive it that way because that's not how they understand contribution. In all of Drake's lyrics, look at all that I gave y'all. Look at all that I gave the game. Look what I did for y'all. No. They don't feel that way. They don't feel that way. They don't eat off your number ones. Very few people do. Not to say that a bunch of people need to, but those who criticize you, that's what they criticize you for. Like, look at your house. It's an embassy. For what? You know what I'm saying? Self-aggrandizing for self-aggrandizing's sake is cute, but you have to understand what comes with being that level of braggadocious. That's why I learned how to fight. And no, that's not what this is. But I understood that, the way I be talking when I go outside, it's not going to change. I'm going to be confident in what I do, and I'm going to say that. I'm not going to disrespect you, but if you take my confidence in disrespect, that's a you thing, not a me thing. And I'm from Flatbush, so I can say thing. He from Canada. He can't say that. I say this as a Drake sympathizer because sometimes we all use accents that we shouldn't. Shout out to the West Indians that don't be like, that's not how that's it. Listen, I don't care. The ones who leave me alone and let me patois it up, shout out to y'all. I don't like that. The West Indians who let me patois it up without any side eye or cross judgment, shout out to y'all. Go. Drake's refusal to grow up hurts him too. Like, nobody wants to see the eternal bachelor. Even the audience you're aiming for when doing that, they've all moved on to Glorilla. At this point, you Glorilla. At this point, you below Glorilla. Below-rilla. I'm not taking this part out. Nor that. That's who you're competing with right now. You think you're competing with Kendrick and Cole and them. But your numbers lets us know that isn't your audience. You are shooting down here at Glorilla and Sexy Red's audience. Not even the dudes in that space. You're just rapping into that space. I say this as a Drake sympathizer because we've all put ourselves in position to not understand that all money is not good money. Everybody has an all money is not good money story. All of us. Yet, and I'll be real, it's easy to rush to judgment on somebody like him. Because even at its barest of bones, there are just moves that he makes that we wouldn't right now. None of us have ever been desperate to prove our worth beyond the numbers. As a man, when we're not making a certain salary, we will listen. When we aren't making a certain salary, we're almost guaranteed in our minds that people are looking at us strangely. But only we care about that. Because to be honest with you, the game is the game and the money's going to go where the money has to go in the first place. It's about the overage, which when there is none, you feel away. But what you don't realize is that's never been your worth. That's never been where your value lies. Your value has been in your art and what you do creatively, what you find passionate. Because I do believe there's a part of him that likes to rap, but nobody cares. Just like nobody in my life cares that I do this. Not a one. That's not why I do it. See what I'm saying? So as a Drake sympathizer, I want him to come back, but I want him to come back with a new attitude. Drake's attitude needs to be different when he returns. He's got to stop trying to compete. He's got to find a new way to express himself. And he's got to stop trying to hang out with the people that want to listen to Glorilla and Sexy Red. It's okay to be whatever age he is. What is he, 39? I don't Google nothing before I start talking. Anyway, but that's real. I'm rooting for that guy. And I'm rooting for the guy that has to do that. I'm rooting for the guy that has to change his entire mindset just to get into a place where he understands what he's going to be doing or wants to do with the rest of his life. He has to do that in spite of people understanding. He has to do that in spite of the obstacles that are in front of him. He has to do that in spite of the days where he doesn't believe that what he's doing is going to take him all the way to the quote unquote finish line. You can't sympathize with that? Come on, man. Go.